morning is Jake Mattern. As a former athlete, our next speaker questions why our society idolizes athletes. Using the objectives from Speech 2 from the presentation Mastery Pathway, over the next 5 to 7 minutes, he is going to discuss his thoughts on if we should be idolizing athletes. His speech is entitled, Are Athletes Role Models? Please help me welcome to the lectern, Jake Mattern.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and lack of guests. So a few weeks ago, I was doing table topics. There was one question I wrote down, but I didn't get a chance to ask it, so I decided to turn it into a speech. The question was, why do we, as a society, idolize athletes, and should we consider them to be role models? So to answer that, I first want to define the term role models, which is a person whose behavior, example, or success is or can be emulated by others, especially younger people.
Sorry, we need to know the time for your speech.
5 to 7.
Thank you.
All right, so regardless if we like it or not, I believe that athletes are role models, but I can also make a case why they shouldn't be. Professional athletes, they've been a prominent fixture in our country's culture for a long time. I know as an athlete playing several sports, there was a number of different athletes that I looked up to and I admired. And I believe that's okay in certain instances, right? Kids that are playing sports, they can empathize with the athlete's abilities or their techniques and their successes. And they also give the athletes give the kids someone to aspire to. They're living the lives that the children maybe want to aspire to live. Their actions on the court or on the field, they can show us how to benefit from rigorous exercise and determination, and that can promote the virtues of just working hard to achieve goals and striving for excellence, and the importance of having fun and enjoying the journey. Not only that, but professional athletes, they have a platform. It gives them a golden opportunity to use their success and their celebrity power to bring positive societal change. So they can use those personal qualities and their habits to inspire high moral values in children and within their fans and affect positive change in communities. And a lot of cases, we see that. We see that with a lot of athletes that are using their platform to promote those positive changes, raise funds for charities, and give back to communities. But just as we see for every good act, someone raising money for charities, we also see a lot of negative acts. Athletes getting arrested, being bad teammates, right? Putting themselves over the team, getting in trouble with the law. What we sometimes fail to realize is that athletes are humans, just like everyone else. They're flawed. They make mistakes. They display poor judgment, and sometimes run into trouble with the law. A part of the problem, I think, is that we have this hero worship and admiration as fans, as spectators, and especially children, and we often ignore the negative and immoral behaviors that they might have, and we think that it's acceptable behavior because of what they do on the field or what their athletic abilities allow them to do. And that could lead to the children adopting those negative behaviors because they want to imitate and copy what their heroes are doing. So how's a kid really supposed to know what's right and between what's right and wrong just by watching the actions of the athletes? There's no direct dialogue between the two. So what they see on TV, they might want to copy, or what they see or read in the newspapers, they might want to copy. And at the same time, we can't expect the athletes to be able to have those conversations with the kids and teach or coach the kids. They don't have that interaction. They can't teach them how to behave and act in life. So kids need to have role models that are going to be present and available to them, and teach them how to establish meaningful relationships and just interact on a daily basis. And those role models should not be athletes. They need to be parents or teachers, coaches, neighbors, the community, amongst others. And I was actually having this conversation with a coworker, and I shared a quote that Charles Barkley once famously said. He said, "I'm not a role model. Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I should raise your kids." My my coworker responded with, yeah, that's true, but you and I were old enough to distinguish good from bad. We're far less impressionable than children are. And he's absolutely right too. As adults, we can distinguish good from bad and right from wrong. Children might not have that capability yet, right? They're young, they're starting to learn how to contribute to a team or to contribute to their family, and they often rely on many role models to help them figure out how to make their own way in this world. And athletes are, for good or for bad, they're one of the many role models that they might have. Karl Malone replied to Charles Barkley's quote by stating, "Charles, I don't think it's your decision to make. I don't think it's our decision to make whether we're role models or not. We don't choose to be role models. We are chosen. Our only choice is whether to be good ones or to be bad ones." So whether we like it or not, our society has a strong dependence on athletes as role models for children. And unfortunately, the athletes are also unfairly given the responsibility of being role models, whether they like it or not, or whether they choose to take on that responsibility or not. And that can lead to having both good and bad role models. So regardless, there needs to be a positive and constant voice of reason to help differentiate good versus bad and right versus wrong, and just instill the values that are needed to be a decent human being, and help make them be successful in whatever field that they might choose. And that responsibility cannot fall in the hands of athletes. So to summarize, I absolutely believe that athletes are role models. They can teach hard work and dedication, and how a commitment to a cause can lead to success both personally and professionally. But as a society, we need to teach the kids to enjoy the athletes for their abilities on the court or on the field, because there's nothing wrong with hero worshiping from that standpoint. But when it comes to being an influence in the child's life from a moral guidance standpoint, parents need to be the superstars, not the athletes. Thank you.